using your hands, actually sending the pelvis down, letting the knees bend. Feeling that sense of weight. The anvil pelvis. One more time. This time, hands can be wherever you want. And you find that same feeling. Maybe a little tone in your belly helps you feel that. And then dropping the pelvis. Rolling through your spine.
Good morning, everybody. If you're waiting on the second half, Colette's class is almost finished up.
Here we go. Switch it over. Check out the chat box. Click on that link. And you can find Scott's class there. If it takes you a little while, just remember YouTube Live. You can always just rewind it. Start it at the beginning if you have a little trouble getting there right when he starts. So you always have that option there too. Anyway, see you next week. Start.
Good morning, everybody. I know a lot of people are coming over from Colette's class, so we're going to give them a couple minutes for the YouTube lag to catch up with us. And in the meantime, for those of you who are joining us and have not been with me thus far this week, as Colette mentioned, I am not in the state of Wisconsin. I'm in the state of Colorado. And I've been out here with my oldest daughter, and we've been eating good food and taking long hikes and enjoying one of my favorite place, which is the little burg of Crestone, Colorado. I've been coming out here for darn near 30 years to do a retreat and to enjoy these mountains. It's considered a very sacred, very precious place. And so I'm glad you all can join me. And what you see behind me is the largest alpine valley in North America. If you can just make out those mountains way off in the distance, they're 125 miles away, so quite some distance away. So in a moment, we're going to start off up on our feet. I'm just going to quick check the computer to make sure that all the technical issues are in place, and then we'll start off up on our feet. So let's pick up where Colette left off. And she was giving us a guided tour of the various regions of the pelvis. And toward the end of today's session, we're going to do a meditation that I like to call the 5 pelvic breaths. But in the meantime, let's move a bit. You've been on the floor for a bit, and so let's get a little bit of warmth in our body. So to begin with that, invite awareness to your pelvic crest, those bony prominences in the front. And now before you do anything else, relax your belly and relax your tailbone. Now, best you can, keep your tailbone relaxed and your belly relaxed. And then slightly lift your pelvic crest up toward the ceiling. So when I say slightly, I'm talking about maybe 1/8 of an inch. Not much at all. And let's pause here for a bit. Now, maybe you already noticed that the invitation to completely relax your belly. When you lift your pelvic crest, your belly slightly engages. And that's precisely the point. That so often when we engage our belly, we do so all sorts of. So in a sense, the invitation was to clear away any prior notions. Simply, solely lift pelvic crest up and notice what that feels like. So as best in maintaining that slight lift to the pelvic crest, let's warm up. Stepping your feet apart. Turn your left foot in and your right foot out. And matching movement with breath. Exhale, bending your right knee. Inhale, straightening your right knee. So let's do 5 of those in total. And next time your knee in the bent position, pausing there. Bring your hands then into prayer position. Pelvic crest still slightly lifting up. In my case, up toward that brilliant blue sky. And keeping that slight lift of the pelvic crest as you outstretch your arm. And swivel your head to look over your right hand. And we'll take 5 breaths here. And coming back to hands in prayer position. Next exhale, tipping your hips. Elbow to knee, hand on your hip. And then 5 breaths here. So maybe you can see I'm using the Pilates breathing technique, which is inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. You could either use that technique or the more yoga technique. Inhale, nose, exhale, nose. Ride the next inhale up, turning back toward the front. Second side, turn the right foot in and your left foot out. Synchronizing movement to breath. Exhale, bending. Inhale, straightening. Let's do about 5 of those. So in my experience, whether you exhale out your nose or your mouth doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of difference. So in my experience as a practitioner, as a teacher, it's more about personal preference. The main thing is to expel the stale air. The next time knee over arch, pausing there. Pelvic crest, recharging that slight, almost imperceptible lift. Let that lift be what lifts your chest and holds your head up. Hands into prayer position. Arms out stretching. And now over your left hand, swivel your head. 5 breaths. And bring your hands back to prayer position. So using prayer position to help cultivate a sense of your midline. The line formed by nose, chin, sternum, navel, pubis. Now with the next out breath, excuse me, tip your hips such that your whole midline moves. Elbow to knee, and on your hip. And steady breathing here. So typically I'll hold poses 3 breaths. So maybe you've already noticed this morning we've been staying just a little bit longer for 5 breaths. I lost count, so let's say 2 more breaths. And next time an inhale comes along, ride that inhale up. Turning back to the front, still facing the front, stepping your feet together. So last night's class, I talked a lot about from our outer hips flowing down into the earth, all the way down the outsides of the legs flow, such that you can feel the outsides of your heels rooting into the floor. Then almost like you're going to make your legs longer, outsides of the legs flow down, pelvic crest lift up. So I used the image last night of like your waistline was the soil line. Below the soil line, the roots go down. And above the soil line, the trunk lifts up. And we're using those pelvic crests lifting up as the source or the generator of supporting the trunk. So now let's add a little bit of movement to that. Exhale, arms up. Inhale, arms down. Exhale up. Inhale down. Exhale up. Next time your arms are up, pausing there. So outside your legs flow down, rooting outside edges of your heels. Pelvic crests lift up to help generate the lift up through your fingertips. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Releasing your arms down. And we'll pause here for a moment. Now a partial sun salutation leading us to dog pose. With the exhale, arms to the side up. And then with the inhale, arms to the side folding. Exhale. Now apologies, pardon sun, pardon me in shade. Main point here is to root your hands to the floor. And not just the little finger side where the weight tends to naturally fall, but in particular the roots of your forefingers. And as you root the root of your forefinger down, a lot of use of the word root there, lift your hips up and back to help lengthen your spine and lengthen your armpits. Letting gravity caress your head, let your head hang. 5 breaths here. Direct the inhale into your back, broaden your back. Exhale, gorilla, stepping your feet forward. Inhale, folding. Arms to the side, exhale, arms to the side up. Inhale, arms down. Yesterday I did an 8-mile hike, trying to keep up with a 19-year-old, so I'm a little bit sore. So let's work on stretching out the front of the hips a bit. Start by taking your left foot a little bit back. And check to make sure that both feet point straight ahead. And then once you see that, bring your head up. And then lifting your pelvic crest to help further lift your head up. Left heel. Inhale, lift your left heel to propel forward. Exhale, descend that heel to draw back. Inhale, heel lifts, front knee bends to accommodate. Exhale, back. 2 more like that. So this technique I call the psoas walk. And this is the walk part of psoas walk. So next time that back heel is lifted, front knee is softly bent. Reinvigorate the lift of your pelvic crest. And then to help stretch out your left psoas, take your left heel back behind you and down to the floor. Now I can really feel how tight my psoas is this morning from that long hike. And I can feel how my pelvis wants to tip forward and I'd overarch my lower back in the process. So Keep lifting your pelvic crest up. Let that lift of the pelvic crest lift your chest, lift your head. Then with the next out breath, arms to the side, up, 2. You guessed it, 5 breaths. And excuse me, bring your hands down and stepping your left foot back up forward. Now let's take the second side. Take your right foot back just a little bit. Check to make sure that both feet point straight ahead. As you can see, that's the case. Hands to your hips, head up. Now, almost all of us have the habit of holding our head up from our head or neck or jaw. Take a moment to relax your jaw. Let your head be buoyant atop your neck. And then use the lift of your pelvic crest to provide the upward flow. Spine, neck, head is recipient. So with your head as the recipient of what occurs farther down, lower down, right ankle, right foot. Inhale, heel lifts. Exhale, it descends. Inhale up. Exhale down. Noticing how my front knee, as I come forward, it bends a little bit more. And then as the heel comes down, it straightens a little bit more. So it's a whole body movement, the walk part of psoas walk. So next time that back heel lifted, pausing there. Reinvigorate the lift of your pelvic crest. Now to help stretch out your right psoas, take that right heel back behind you and down to the floor. Now with the next out breath, arms to the side up. 5 breaths. And bring your arms down, stepping your back foot forward, standing comfortably. These bony prominences out here, your greater trochanters. From your greater trochanters, a flow downward, down your IT bands, lateral collateral ligaments of your knees, down your fibularis muscles in your shins, culminating in outside edges of the heels rooting. Then from that rooting, relax the contents of your belly as you lift your pelvic crest up. Now, Colette gave us a wonderful tour of the pelvic region. Now, my physiologist friends may take issue with what I'm going to say. But what I find is for a lot of people, as they go to engage their belly, it almost looks like they clench their intestines. So as you lift your pelvic crest, let that cue engage your abdominal wall. That's where the muscles are. Now let your organs relax into that support. So rather than your organs clenching and pulling in, let them relax into the support of your abdominal wall. Now, whether or not that feels like much of anything, mind is powerful. Imagery, visualization can often have powerful benefit. Arms to the side, exhale up. Inhale down. 2 more. Exhale up. Inhale down. Sorry you can't see my hands. Different technology on the road with me here than in Blue Mountains. Both arms up here. We've talked a bit about outsides of the legs, rooting the outsides of the feet, lifting the pelvic crest, relaxing the viscera. Now to add in side bending. To your right, exhale, side bend right. Inhale up. Side bend left, exhale. Inhale. One more each side. And releasing your arms down. We'll pause here for a bit. Salutation to transition to the floor. Exhale, arms to the side up. Inhale, arms to the side, folding. Gorilla exhale. Dog pose inhale. 5 breaths here. And then coming down. Coming, excuse me, into a seated position. So let's start off with knees bent, feet on the floor. You probably hear I have a little bit of phlegm in my throat. I think it's from a hike at the Sand Dunes Monument. Very windy day. I've been exfoliated from head to toe. So starting by taking your right leg forward, bring your left foot up and over. Left hand goes back. Right hand either catches the knee or elbow comes across. Twisting to your left. 5 breaths. Now, especially after my long hike, I'm feeling that my left sitting bone is tending to hike up toward the ceiling. So I consciously root it down into the earth as I lift up for the last 2 breaths. And then back toward the front. Now take your left foot forward. Bring your right foot up and over. Remember, I'm mirror image of you if these instructions don't make sense. So bent knee, that same side goes back. Straight leg, that hand either catches the knee or that elbow catches the knee. And now turning the other direction to your right. And results may vary, not saying that your right sitting bone is popping up, but it is really quite common. So whatever your experience may or may not be, 4 more breaths here. And then back in toward the middle. Then both feet forward. Exhale, sweep your arms up. Inhale, folding forward. So you can probably see that the crown of my head is moving toward the camera, which means that I'm looking down at the floor. So the reason that I practice that and I teach that is to release the neck. When people look forward, the same old neck tension remains unexamined. Whereas when you look down, you get the back of your head toward your toes. Then the tension that many people live with in their upper back and neck gets to see the light of day. Couple more breaths here. And then exhale, coming up. Now, at risk of confusion, I'm going to invite you to sit. And I'm going to stand up and I'm going to join you in sitting soon enough. But I think in standing up, it'll be easier for you to see what I mean by the 5 pelvic breaths. So take a few moments to get whatever you would like for sitting, whether that's a cushion or a blanket or a chair. And while you're getting set up, I'm going to build on what Colette was for. It's the invitation to direct the breathing into different parts of the pelvis. Now, of course, we know that breathing is in your lungs, that there's not literally air that's going into these different places. But breathing into parts of the body has been done for thousands of years to help direct awareness to these parts of the body. So I'll go through the 5 pelvic breaths quickly, and then I'll go through them a little bit slower. So just inside of your pelvic crest, these 2 spots are where the first inhale goes. Then the next inhale goes into these 2 spots on either side of the sacrum. The third inhale goes into this one spot below the navel. The fourth inhale directed to your pelvic floor. And the fifth inhale directed to your sacrum bone. Remember, Colette talked about that triangular bone. So I'll go through it again. First breath into these 2 points. Second breath into these 2 points. Fourth breath into the 1 point pelvic floor. Fifth breath into the 1 sacrum. So now I'm going to join you in sitting. So you might be wondering, why bother? What's the point? We tend to live in our head. And various wisdom traditions invite us to descend that energy or awareness into the heart. But if we stop there, it's pretty tenuous. To continue descending the energy down deep into your belly and using that as a technique to be here now, to embody, to help steady, calm your mind, to help foster equanimity. All right, so let's do a few of the 5 pelvic breaths together. The 2 points in the front, direct your next inhale into those 2 points. Now the 2 points in the back of your pelvis, direct the next inhale into those 2 points. The 1 point below your navel, direct the next in breath there. Comfort, direct the next in breath there. And now into your sacred bone. That's what sacrum means. Direct the next inhale into your sacrum. Begin another cycle. Inhale into the 2 points in the front of your pelvis. The 2 points in the back of your pelvis, the middle of your lowest belly, the center of your pelvic floor, and your sacrum. Last 5 breaths, now on your own. You've closed your eyes, now opening your eyes. Good to see you all. Well, can't see you, but get a chance to look at the roster each time. It's so fun to see new names, people I've never met, and familiar names. Some people that are living still nearby, and other people scattered all over the world, literally all over the world. So I'm going to check the chat box. I'm going to see if any questions came in. And if you have longer questions, maybe you can join me in 15 minutes. In 15 minutes, I'm going to be doing a question and answer session. And that's going to be about all things mental and physical fitness, physiology, anatomy, working with the mind through meditation. And so that will be starting at 10:15 Central Time. So let's see, any questions? Excellent. Wonderful. I'm going to sign off for now, and maybe you can join me in 15 minutes. It'll be a session on Zoom, and that link will be found on either scottandersonyoga.com or on pilatesonharrison.com. See you next week.